to get her on. So Karen is the tentpole in our film on abductions. Karen was taken at 6 years old, numerous times. Karen had a handler on board the ship. Karen learned to fly the ship. So when Karen becomes older, like in her early 20s, she finds herself pregnant. She's married at this time, but she finds herself pregnant. At the end of the third month, at the end of the first trimester, month number 3, she's re-abducted and the baby is taken from her. Now, she doesn't know that, but she goes to the OBGYN, emergency room, what's going on? They go in, there's no fetal tissue. It's like she's never been, no heartbeat, no sign of the baby. Ma'am, are you sure you were pregnant? She goes, you can talk to my OBGYN. Yeah, I was pregnant. This happens to her twice, 2 more times. So now, I don't know why it does this. It's just something with my laptop here. Watch this. Yeah, if I do that, see, I don't even know why it's doing that. So anyway, yeah, it's like, yay.
Birthday party somewhere.
It's like, for some reason, there's the thumb. See that? It's like, it happens on my, and I don't know why it's doing this on my screen, but it does this, and I don't know how to shut it off. Anyway, so Karen was abducted three times, well, numerous times, but she was impregnated by them 3 different times. At the end of the first trimester, in the 3rd month of pregnancy, they come and re-abduct her. They take the child. This is what I want you to weigh in on, Race. Maybe you can help set the record straight. The child is a hybrid being. It's not fully human. It's mixed DNA. It's mixing of the seed, which we read about in the biblical prophetic narrative.
Right.
Which states that in the latter days, their seed will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not cleave to them. That's from Daniel chapter 2, verse 43. Their seed will mingle.
I just looked that up.
Yeah.
So I just looked up Daniel 2:43. I was going to ask you about that.
Okay, we can get into that. Who are they? It's not human beings, and it's a mixing, commingling of the seed. And the word cleave, Jim Williamson discovered this or did a research on it, is the same word that we get in a marriage. So go back in the Genesis, a man will leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. That's a marriage contract. So in Daniel chapter 2:43, their seed will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not cleave. There's no marriage contract. They take what they want. Welcome to the modern day abduction phenomenon. So circling back to Karen, the baby is taken. The hybrid entity, in my opinion, the modern day Nephilim, is taken from the woman. But that child needs a place to grow in because it can't survive outside the womb. Bovine blood, cow blood, can be used interchangeably with human blood in a transfusion. That's a medical fact. So cow blood, bovine blood, can be used in a human transfusion. In our opinion, what these entities are doing, they are creating artificial wombs. And that child is inserted in the artificial womb where it comes to full term. It's birthed on board the ship. It stays on the ship until the handlers begin to integrate it into our society.
Golly. I'm going to tell you something.
Heard that?
I have.
Okay.
In this UFO thing, there's so many aspects to it. Implants, crop circles.
Yes.
Abductions.
Yeah.
Contact and all. Lights in the sky, landings, near Earth landings, all of these incursions in the military airspace and the like. There's a lot to it. And I've purposefully avoided the abduction phenomenon for several decades because of my fear. I'm just going to admit it, my outright fear of what you put into your mind. You know what I mean? What you put in your,
I know.
And when I did start to, because you can't go into UFOs and not come across these people. And the moment that I started to activate the media side of my history and all of this, and started my own media station and a broadcast station, and getting into this and interviewing people and getting to know people, and all of the people that I'd already got to know were brought forth. You just can't, these people start to come by the truckloads with these stories and these accounts and these experiences that you just can't so easily write off. Type A personality, well put together people, to people who have been so mentally cored out that they are just are on the edge of being able to hold it together.
I get it.
And I saw some of these people, and I have seen at events with you. I could look over and see you holding hands and praying with these people at your table. It's traumatic, but when you're on the outside looking in, you just, all you can do is imagine, right? That this person in front of you is telling you that their child has been taken out of them. Trying to wrap a male human experience around that, let alone it being a female situation. Females are the cradle of God. They're the ones that make life. They are the ones that we protect, that we take care of, and we covet that whole part of the human experience. But I'm telling you, this is the most difficult for me. This right here, what you're talking about, what you're talking about, I have dozens in that file cabinet back here, dozens of accounts of people that, now I've heard more, a lot more, and interviewed more, but those ones that I kept are the ones that I feel like are the most credible. They have the most evidence. They are the best candidates for research behind this. And I'm telling you, that episode that Bill Burns and his crew did in UFO Hunters, and I know there's a lot of pros and a lot of good people and a lot of bad, good people that have bad things to say about that show. But I think the very end of that show, when they closed it down, was when they were doing that episode about that fetus they found in that cow. And the state police came forward and told the story about what they saw and what they knew. And you're all over this, LA. I mean, like a lampshade, you're all over it, my friend. So I can't wait to go put my teeth in this cattle mutilation film that you're putting together. And I've also got some resources out here that I'll be gladly collaborate with you as you move forward, in this series for sure. But
yeah,
I totally get the heavy load that comes, the dark nature that comes with this. I get it, but it's work that needs to be done. It's information that needs to be collected and disseminated to people, to critical thinkers out here, like we find on the Unnext Network and other places, to absorb this information and talk to people and communicate with people. Because that outreach and that fellowship in these tougher aspects of the subject have to continue. They have to carry on, and they have to be looked into. It's the heavy lifting. It's the heavy lifting, LA, in all of this. By far and away, it's the heavy lifting. And you, my friend, have done such amazing work. And I've had the pleasure of, a little bit of work with you, on the Nephilim series and Hunt for the Nephilim. And I know how good it is. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, look, we need to move on because we're running out of time. Out of place artifacts. Let's talk about that. This is the 8th film in your series on the trail of the Nephilim. You entitled it Out of Place Artifacts. Tell us what you mean by that.
Well, when we go out and yeah, thank you. When we go out into the field and we're looking at different aspects. Let's say down in South America is a perfect example. So we're in South America and we show this in the film, and we're at a place called Ollantaytambo, and I'm there with an archaeologist, an archaeoastronomer, and he comes on the camera, and we're looking at cuts in andesite stone. And the andesite stone, you know, the cuts are really, really pretty big. And thank you, Miracle of the Sun. Yeah, that's another film that we created. We were 2 weeks over in Portugal filming, but I digress. So we're over there.
You do so well.
In Ollantaytambo with an archaeoastronomer, and there's no way the Inca built this, and we show this on film. We take a copper chisel and we take a block of andesite stone, and the guy goes bam, 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 and then we hold up the chisel, and guess what? It's just like the end of this. It's completely blunted on the end, right? There's no more point. So if you can't cut the andesite stone with a copper chisel, then how was it done? And yet the powers that be, the modern day archaeologists, oh, the Inca built this. Inca had nothing to do with this. So when we're at a site like this, the entire site is an out of place artifact. The entire site makes no sense at all. And when you go to a place like Sacsayhuaman, once again in Peru, you'll see that the stones are polygonal, and they weigh hundreds, thousands of tons, 40, 60, 80, 100 tons. I mean, it's just not thousands, but hundreds. And it's just like, how are they moved? How are they put together? How are they carved? And once again, we're told Inca with copper chisels, and it's such nonsense. But here's the rub. So I'm over in Italy, and I'm filming over there, and we're holed up in Rome. We're about 6 blocks off from the Vatican. We did that deliberately so we can walk to the Vatican, and we do. We walk to the Vatican. So I'm in Vatican Square for the first time, and I'm looking around. It's pretty cool. Architecture's amazing. I mean, give me a break. It's amazing. But there in the center of the Vatican Square is this out of place artifact, and it's an obelisk, and that obelisk is right there. So that's the obelisk right there.
There it is.
So I'm looking at this thing, and I'm saying to myself, what's wrong with this picture? So I go back to my hotel room after we photograph and do all sorts of crazy stuff, and I Google it, and I find out, first of all, this obelisk came from Hierapolis, Egypt, and Caesar Augustus in 35 BC shipped it from Heliopolis, Egypt, to Rome, where it was erected. Caligula, decades later, erected it in Circus. Now the Vatican has it, and Pope Sixtus V wants this thing moved. It takes 900 men, 300 horses, depending on which site you go on. 6 months, 9 months, whatever, but it's a lot of time. And they show some of the illustrations with the preponderance of pulleys and ropes and horses and trying to pull this thing and then erect it. When they erect it, Pope Sixtus V does a rite of exorcism around the bottom of that obelisk, and that's still there. It's carved into the obelisk.
Really?
Yeah. He knew what was going on.
Is that what you discovered about the Vatican obelisk?
Well, that was just one thing. But what we discovered was this thing weighs 320 tons. It's 84 feet high. It's a lot of weight. 84 feet high. And remember, the obelisk goes like this. So it's not the nice little square thing. It's got that, you can look at it here once again as it goes up. So every inch you go up, the diameter is changing around the four corners.
Yeah, it's squeezing together a little bit.
Yeah. So it's made out of red granite. And the question is,
how did they move that thing?
How do they cut it from the quarry? And when you go, there's the thumb. And when you go online, you'll see the debunkers. They've got copper saws and they've got red granite, and they're cutting the granite with a copper saw. I understand that. I get it. And they're putting sand in where the copper saw, but they're cutting a block. They're not making an obelisk. How is that done? And then they go, well, they just take a harder rock and they go chip, 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 chip. Come on, guys. What are you smoking? What are you? And this is why it's an out of place artifact. Because to make something like this,
let me enlarge.
Yeah,
There you go.
To make that, what are we looking at? Right? You can see the Vatican in the background. And why? Why are you making this thing?
We made our own up there in Washington.
Well, there you go. But we did it in modernity, and it's not a single block. It's not a single block of red granite like this thing is, where it's carved perfectly.
It's solid red granite.
Yeah, solid red.
One piece.
Yeah, it's pink granite from Heliopolis. No one knows how it got there. And again, it took 900 men, 300 horses. You can go and look at the engravings that they have, all the drawings that they had of this thing, because they have all that, and it's fascinating because you see the Vatican.
How many miles? How many miles, LA, is that?
What?
How far was that they moved it from that?
From Heliopolis, Egypt, to Rome. That's across the Mediterranean. Yeah,
without snapping it.
Without snapping it. I mean, Rome were master builders. I get that. And they would take things that were found in antiquity and repurpose them, which is what, when you go underneath the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, there's another out-of-place artifact. When you go in the Temple Mount, underneath there in Jerusalem, you will see two ginormous stones. They're like 40 feet, and they're like 12 by 14, and they're stacked one on top of each other. The Romans took those stones, in my opinion, and repurposed them in the wall of the fortress of Antonia, which is still there today. That's what you see. But you're underground because, centuries have gone by. I think that's Nephilim architecture, fallen angel technology. I think those stones.
I was about to ask you about that.
Yeah. Original stones that don't belong there. And they weren't made, they've got the Herodian dressing on them, but that can be done. It's repurposed. Anybody can take that and carve ding, 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 ding. Oh, look, the Herodians, that it was done under Herod's reconstruction of a temple. No, it wasn't. In my opinion, with all due respect to, archaeologists who know a lot more than I do, guys, it's just that, it's not. They didn't do it. They didn't move it. They didn't quarry these stones. You're looking at something else.
And that's geology. You're gonna know where pink quartz is. You're gonna know where rose quartz is, where red quartz is, where granite, all of the granites are gonna be. And if you can't find it for 400 miles, then that's the nearest place you can find that it could have come from.
Exactly.
It's just logic there. But to me, to not only to be able to carve something like that out of solid stone, all in one piece, but to somehow lift and move it without snapping that big damn
thing. There you go. How was that done? And the Romans, the Romans were able to do that. They've got lots of horses, lots of cables, and everything else, and it takes them forever.
They're right. There's some impressive theories out there, but I'm of the class of people now that the Egyptians made their home around structures that have been there thousands of years before.
Absolutely.
And I'm no academic, and I'm no archaeologist, and I don't want to, you know, I highly respect Dr. Shock and
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And Anthony West and so many others that have, you know, they've been there, man. They've got that sand in their shoes. And you know, they're saying that, look, this doesn't make sense.
And you know, the Egyptians, remember when Moses and Aaron, you're looking at 3,500 years ago, come before Pharaoh, and I wrote about this in my book, How the Nephilim Returned After the Flood. There is a full-blown occult paradigm in operation. It's there. Because Moses throws his staff down, it becomes a serpent. Well, you know, that would make everybody run out of the room today, right? Nobody bats an eyelash. The Egyptian magicians, they just throw their staffs down. They become serpents, but Moses' staff eats the Egyptians. So you're looking at high frequency here. You're looking at something that's like, whoa, what's going on? What's important about that is it shows that there's a full-blown occult paradigm in operation when Moses and Aaron come into the land. And that's not discussed in the churches, but there is. They could manipulate space, time, matter, and energy in ways that defy our physics. When you move into the abduction phenomena, a person is taken, they're floated off the bed. That's levitation. You just defy gravity. Then they go through the window, and I've talked to abductees. They can feel their whole body tingling as they go through the window. So, you know, whoever's doing this, they can manipulate space, time, matter, and energy that defy our physics, that are just absolutely unbelievable.
In my notes here, it says we have 28-pound axe heads and stone mauls found at Flint Ridge that weigh upwards of 30 pounds. I have seen stone axe heads. I have found them myself. Nothing of that girth, nothing of that size. Polished stone axe heads. I can't imagine what one would look like. That's 30 pounds.
Yeah, these are, I mean, like this big. I mean, they're huge. They're absolutely huge. And when we've seen them, I've handled them. This is Nephilim architecture. This is Nephilim. You know, you get a 9 or 10 or 11 footer, and this is utilitarian for them. And they built these sites all through the Americas. These are all Amorite sites. Another out of place artifact, and I'm down to the 10-minute mark, and I got to leave in 5. But the bottom line is, 6. But the bottom line is, yeah, we were in America Stonehenge, all right? And there's what we call the Bell Stone, which is right here, right there. That's the Bell Stone. And that writing that you see on the stone right here, that writing right there is Iberian Punic. So why does that rewrite history? Well, first of all, it shouldn't be there. Second of all, it laid in the museum for 11 years before it was deciphered. And then only because Professor Barry Fell from Harvard University came out and said, that looks like Iberian Punic. And he took a rubbing of it or pictures of it. And then he deciphered it, and it says, to Baal of the Canaanites in dedication. Now, Baal worship, this is from the Amorites, the Canaanites. This is Nephilim Central. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. They were here 4,000 years ago. And for that stone to Baal of the Canaanites in dedication, I mean, are you kidding me? And it's written in Iberian Punic. So if it's a forger that's getting up there and, forging all this, and it lays in the museum for 11 years, that's really kind of stupid, right? So what we're looking at, and I say this on my show all the time, there is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world. And that's why we are on the trail of the Nephilim. That's found in New Hampshire, America Stonehenge in New Hampshire. It's a 4,000-year-old ancient site. It's got a lot of anomalies. that we've just barely scratched the surface on. But there's an unbelievable out of place artifact. So, this film, along with our cat, we're out on the trail, folks. We're out in the field. This isn't armchair research. This is your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli, and company out on the trail filming at these locations, getting our hands dirty, looking at them, and trying to come
real quick. Please ask LA if he thinks that the Nephilim are extinct or in hiding.
Well, they're in hiding, in my opinion, because we know from the Kandahar giant work that we did, that thing was 14 feet tall, and it was brought down by a group of Army Rangers or what have you in the wilds of Afghanistan. I was approached by a guy from the deep state and threatened 3 different ways during that meeting. I had a bodyguard with me. And it was in the lobby of a hotel in Dallas. We weren't going to meet with this guy in some secret room in a lobby in Dallas with lots of people around. And my guy was packing. So, and he was packing. So, it wasn't a Mexican standoff. I don't know. You tell me.
What did he say?
He said, what kind of phone do you have? I go, I have an iPhone. Is it encrypted? No. Well, when they come and arrest you, LA, they can take your phone and they can find kitty port on it. Oh, really? What kind of car do you drive? I drive back then, a 1991 Mercedes SL 500 that I restored. Bought the thing for $3,000 and then restored it. It's a little go-kart. I call it my go-kart. Love that car. Burn in the fire. No worries. What kind of car do you drive? I drive that. Well, you could have an accident with the car because we have ways of messing with the car. Do you have any children? I have 2 girls. One of them could go missing and never be found. This is his opening salvo to me. And I looked at him and I said, I'm not boasting here, folks. I'm just telling you the way the game is played. I looked at him and said, yeah, I get it. You can do all that, but you can't touch me unless the Most High God allows you to do that. You can't. Now, you can kill me. I'm a worm. I understand that, but you can't do that unless you've got permission from the guy upstairs. And 3 months later, that's when the timing belt on the car was cut and it broke. And I'm coming around a turn with no power steering. If Peggy had been in that car driving, she would have gone off the cliff. I had the presence of mind to yank the wheel and jam on the brakes.
Even beyond, not even getting to that, just somebody looking me in the eye and telling me, look, I'll do your whole GD family. You know what I mean? Like, that could be grounds for me to walk out with that guy and finish him right then. Somebody like me, I'm not playing this game. Look, I'm not politically correct, people. I never have been. I'm a foot in my mouth, assertive, really, shoot first and try your slippers on later kind of a fella. And so for a guy to come up and tell somebody that,
it's really
they mean it. Because they know that could lead to their demise. You're threatening a man, and you're threatening a man's family.
That's exactly what he did.
About my wife or my daughters.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. So, I say that was because we talked about the Kandahar giant, and that was
right. And that led to that.
And that led.
LA, look, I know you got to run. I could sit here and waffle with you for hours, my friend. You are at the top of a league of extraordinary men and women that are on the front lines fighting for the truth, looking for and providing the evidence that's on the ground all over the planet that proves that the good Bible, the good book,
Amen.
is real.
Is real.
And everything in it is real as the nose on your face. So LAMarzulli.net, LAMarzulli.net. You can come here to the Unnext Network and get more from LA here as well every week. We've got a slot carved out for him. He's gracious enough to let old Race, syndicate his works here, and I truly appreciate that. LA, your books. Margie uploaded some right here. And I want people to see them. They can get these books at LAMarzulli.net and an entire volume of other works, and every bit of it is money well spent, time well spent.
Thank you, Race.
LA, give my best to your beautiful angel, Peggy.
Say
I
hi to the
love you,
bird.
brother, and thank you for coming on
Love
tonight.
you too, Race. Live long and prosper, guys. Take care.
Thank you, LA. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to say, in over the 30 years that I've been doing this, over 30 years, you know, way back when it wasn't cool, way back when you lost family members, way back when you lost friends and you know, you had to wear labels as the neighborhood quack and all of that. None of that was cool back then. Now I have the phone rings all the time with relatives and friends and family friends that have long since written me off that I didn't even know they did, really, to be honest with you. You know, that, hey, I saw in the New York Times, I saw, you know, on CNN, I saw on Fox News, you were right all along. Was I? Was I right all along? In 30 years, I can only tell you this of researching this stuff and various aspects. I've been a researcher. I've bought and read books. I've done hundreds and hundreds of hours in libraries. I've done no time in archives. That's stuff that Richard Dolan and Stanton Friedman and Grant Cameron and many of my other friends, they do that stuff. I don't have the patience really for archive work. I mean, that's a lot of tedious work that yields a lot of information in a lot of other places before you find that one little nugget you're looking for that could change the game. I've gone from sitting in a library to jumping on the very first internet, chat rooms, starting my own little group in Fort Smith, meeting at the library every month, later joining an organization called the Mutual UFO Network and working with them for many, many years and learned a lot with them. Want to give Danielle a shout out. Danielle, it is so good to see you in the chat room. I didn't know that was you, but thank you for coming and hanging out with us and everyone else in chat and everyone else watching. I have to apologize just real quick that we got this. They got the video show up late. I didn't hit start stream. I got everything set on the radio side, and you know, because I jumped in here last minute, I'm doing all the stuff on the radio, all the stuff on the video, and then bringing LA in and getting all my notes together here last minute, and I just didn't hit start stream. Boss, please don't fire me. I'm so sorry. But to get back to where I was, you know, I started investigating and getting out, chasing lights in the sky, and then training people to investigate and teaching what I had learned, and then going into media. Started my own digital radio station back in, on podcast back in 2010, 2011, 2012, went on the air with my own radio station. Took some of my partners, some of my friends got together, and with the lint in our pockets, we started our own digital station. And I ran that station for 8 years. I sold it, worked for it for 2 more, left it, and came to work here and helped Margie start the X network, the X. And so I've been in media for 12, 13 years in this, and I had to let the research fall to the wayside. I had to let the investigations fall to the wayside because now I'm working to go get people like Richard Dolan, Grant Cameron, Linda Moulton Howe, L.A. Marzulli, and many other people, Jill Hansen, George Studolsky. I mean, please, everybody that I've worked with and produced, don't be mad at me if I didn't say your name, because there are dozens and dozens of people that I've worked with. Dan Morrow, names that I haven't spoken in a long time. I miss them. But these were people that were doing good works. I wanted the people on my station that were the people everybody else wanted on their shows. because they were the people, Chase Kletsky, many others, they were the boots on the ground doing the work. They weren't just sitting back in a chair and talking about it, right? They were out there doing the work. And I know I'm going over, but this is where Phenomenon Radio would start, my show. But this week we're in replay. So I'm going to, since we started late on the video feed, I'm going to go ahead and keep going. So Margie, if you're wondering, I'm going to go ahead and keep going. We're going to go to a commercial break here in just a second. It'll be a real quick, real brief one. But I just want you to know that in all of these years, in all of this time, from working at a radio station and having someone call in and tell me there's a UFO over their car, I'll go out of the radio station, I'll look, and miles away I can see this light, right where he said it would be. I run back into the station. He's still on the phone. We collaborate. And from there, I think July of 1990 when that was, KZ 106 was a rock station back then. Now it's Spirit 106 in the city of Fort Smith down here in the valley. That started it. And all the way till now, all I can tell you is this, that physical objects are coming and going from our oceans and our atmosphere with impunity. They go wherever they want, whenever they want, with absolute impunity. And we have the technology to detect them. We have the technology to photograph and film them. And they have been. Hundreds, perhaps thousands of authentic UFO photographs exist. We may not see them, but they exist. No telling how many feet of film has been shot of these objects that are true phenomenon, not human, nothing of this earth, on film. True American heroes like Gordon Cooper have gone on the record and stated that he had his hands on film. At Edwards Air Force Base, his crew was out there testing arresting cables on a makeshift airfield for the Navy, for aircraft carriers to snatch tail hooks on Navy aircraft. And so they had many high-speed cameras shooting these tail hooks, latching these big cables. A UFO came down, 3 arms came out of the whales, extended out. This disc landed on the dry lake bed right out there in front of them, and they caught it all on film. And his guys picked up their cameras, started running toward it. The thing lifted up, put the landing gear back in the whales, and boomed off. And they got it on film. They ran in. They told their commanding officer, which was Gordon Cooper. He told him to run over and expedite the development. He got the books out to find out chain of command and what to do. He did it. They said, package it, seal it, and a colonel courier will be there to pick it up and use one of your planes to fly it back to Washington. When the reels hit his desk, he opened one up. He held it up in the window and looked, and he could see the UFO clearly in the film. Put it back in the cans, put the cans in the pouch, sealed the pouches, gave them to the colonel courier. He got on the plane, he flew away, and he never saw or heard from him again. And I think that that man, which is a true American hero, would not tell some quack story and stain his entire reputation. We're talking about a man who's strapped on top of a multi-thousand-pound rocket, a ballistic missile in a little can at the top. And he let somebody light it and put his ass up in the atmosphere to rip around the earth in this little bitty tin can. He makes orbits around the earth and then comes back down to earth in it. That takes nerves of steel. That's risking your one and only God-given life, right? For America, for the advancement of space exploration. He's a true American hero. He served, his service to the country was just, it was phenomenal. And here this man is telling us all that this happened, and this was a first-hand account. This was not a second-hand account. Now, Edgar Mitchell, I talked to him myself many times. He went on the record with things that were told to him by high-level sources, well-placed individuals in the U.S. military and the U.S. government, and he was thoroughly convinced, that this stuff is absolutely real. And so many others. The list is countless. You don't have to just look. People in the military can lie. People in the military can lie just like anybody else. Just because they were in the military or just because they were an astronaut doesn't necessarily mean that they're beyond reproach, that you can't question what they say. Colonel Corso, look at what he said. This man worked in the Pentagon. He worked in intelligence. He served in World War II all over the United States. Redstone rockets at Alamogordo. He was chief of security, I think it was, in Italy after the war. I mean, this guy was all over the place and certainly decorated, and went on the record with the fact that we have crashed materials and bodies. These technologies that we have, these pieces of equipment that we have that can detect physical objects in the air and underwater, are admissible evidence, ladies and gentlemen. Testimony given by some of these men and some of these equipment operators could send you to lethal injection, to the electric chair in some states. They could send you to your death, their testimony. And this evidence, admissible evidence, not circumstantial, admissible evidence, physical evidence. These things land. They hover close to the ground and they literally change the environment where they're reported to have been. They're here. They've been here. For all we know, they could be from here. And they're real. And I got into this with a hobby. This was a hobby that led to the privilege of becoming to know somebody like L.A. Marzulli, whom we just heard from a little bit. And I'm telling you, it is an honor. It's a true honor and a true privilege to know Margie Kay and to work for her and to be a part of the Unnext Network, which is a small part of a great big world out here that's waking up to the truth that UFOs and UAPs are absolutely something that the real scientific community, the public scientific community, I say, the free scientific community, because that's where real advancement's made. It's not harnessed, it's free. When scientists are free to do their thing and to share information, to collaborate with one another openly, that's when real advancement is made. That's when real discoveries are made. That's when good things manifest themselves that can change our future profoundly for the better. With that, I'm going to pause for just a minute because we need to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to have a few things to say, and want to talk a little bit about the UNX network and a little information that I saw over on the debrief this week from my good friend Micah Hanks, whom we've got to get over here and get another interview with him. The last time I hosted for Margie was a night that I brought Micah on. So that was the last time that I actually got to talk with him. So I'm going to step aside and pay a few bills here. We'll be right back with a little bit more from a unique edition of the Unnext News Show. I'm Ray Hobbs filling in for the wonderful Margie K. Sweetheart, I hope you're home resting and watching now. We'll be right back.
Are you thinking about purchasing a wood-fired heating or cooking appliance but don't know where to start? The new book, Wood-Fired Heating and Cooking, will guide you through the process and make the decision much easier. Find out about wood stoves, wood-burning fireplace inserts, masonry heaters, cook stoves, brick ovens, and more. Learn about operation and maintenance, buying and storing wood, even how to make your own charcoal. A bonus section includes delicious recipes for cooking in a wood-burning oven, grill, tandoori oven, or smoker. The wise homeowner, prepper, or homesteader will have the ability to heat their home with wood when the power goes out or to save money on increasing gas bills. Wood-fired heating and cooking is available at Amazon. Visit www.woodfiredpub.com for more information. That's woodfiredpub.com.
Welcome back to the UNX Network. This is the UNX News video cast that usually happens with Margie K in this chair. Not in this chair, in her chair in Kansas City, Studio 1A. But I'm Ray Hobbs filling in with Margie tonight, for Margie tonight. And Margie, I hope you're feeling better. She had some dental work done this week, folks. And we all know how fun that can be. And there was a little bit of a mishap, but things are good. She's at home recovering, and I hope you're watching Margie now that I got the stream going. I promise I'll circle back around and fix it. But to all of you, thank you for being here. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you listening over on the radio side. This is the UNX Network, Kansas City, Missouri, Van Buren, Arkansas. Now, in that break, I played a promo for a book. This book, in fact, Debbie Zagelmeyer, good friend Debbie, is the sister to the guy, Chuck Zukowski, that L.A. Marzulli was talking about earlier about cattle mutes. And Debbie is an amazing investigator. And she investigates under the water incidents and accounts. And she is a super scuba diver and does all that underwater work. And it's a fascinating book. I was truly impressed, with how you could go about putting all of this into context for someone that, I've held my breath for a few minutes. And that's about it. Done some snorkeling. And I was fascinated with it. Good book. Run over to unxmedia.com and take a look. Margie's got lots of books over there. Her Winged Alien book. And then this one, the 50th anniversary of the Southeast Missouri Ozarks UFO flap, is out and available now. And her and Debbie Zagelmeyer collaborated on it. They did fascinating work, put together, because they're up there. One's in St. Louis, one's in Kansas City, and together these girls have got the entire state of Missouri and the northern Ozarks covered. And anytime I have ever needed information or a heads up about something or the drop on something that's going on up there, these two ladies, these two fine investigators, are the ones that I would call to get the skinny on what's happening and where I need to be. Joplin Spook Lights to Marley Woods, you name it, they're all over it. But this book is one that needs to be in every bookshelf if you're interested in UFOs and UAPs. So unxmedia.com is where you need to run over and take a look, see what's over there. It's time well spent and money well spent, I promise you. Also, head over to unxnetwork.com. I just clicked on it on my browser. Up on the main menu, shows, blogs, magazine, memberships, events, contests, connect to us with your content, your content, your suggestions, your gripes, just whatever you have to say to us or questions you have for us. Go over there and hit connect. Margie, the owner of the company, personally receives those, and she will forward the ones to me straight away in real time. We promise we'll get right back to you. We love hearing from all of you because just like in the promos you hear on the station that I put up here, you listen to us and we listen to you. So use that connect button. There's merch over there and so much more. But the show page is what I wanted you to go take a look at, because not only are you going to find all the current stuff that we have, you're going to find all of the older shows that we've broadcast, because a lot of our hosts, not a lot, a small portion of them, have had to, for various reasons, they've had to down their shows for, personal reasons. One moved from New York to Florida and had a job change, and they had to just put the podcast on the back burner for a while. And then, there's a myriad of other reasons, but you can also find those that we used to broadcast. And this is why I'm talking about this whole thing about these shows. The UNX Network, working with John Burroughs and myself, have remastered the entire Phenomenon Radio 4-season set that I and John Burroughs and Linda Moulton Howe did from 2015 to 2019. And we had guests, physicists, investigative journalists. It was all centered around the Rendlesham Forest incident, but we definitely extended our tentacles out in a lot of other related directions to that case. And ladies and gentlemen, it's free. It's available to you for free. Every one of those shows is available on demand for you to go there and download right now. So let me do this just really quickly. I'm going to jump over here because I've got to log back in. I logged out of our platform, but I wanted to give you the direct URL to go to our page, because we have several of them. But under view and edit, I can go straight to, okay, if you go over to Spreaker.com and type in Phenomenon Radio Collection, it'll take you straight to it. But while I'm doing this in real time, you can go over on Facebook and you can go to the Unexplained Network, KUNX Broadcasting group, our group over there. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stab that link in there. I'm going to pop it in there in real time right now, doing it right now on Facebook. It's right up at the top. You can't miss it. The Unexplained Network. And folks, we had to change that name. Facebook. I'm going to say it. Margie, forgive me. Please don't fire me. Effed up Facebook. Always messing with folks and always muting people. They don't like what you're saying. They don't like UFOs. They don't like abductions and contact. You know what I'm talking about. Because we had the X in our station title. I guess they thought it had something to do with porno or something else or something. Margie, poor Margie, I don't know how she has any hair left, because I would have pulled mine all out. But over there, she had to change that name in order to get our group page back up and running. So it's the Unexplained Network. It's under Facebook groups, or KUNXDB. That might be an easy way to find it if you don't know. But I put that collection link up there to Spreaker. If you go to Spreaker.com, you can search Phenomenon Radio, the original complete collection. And over there, you're going to find all 4 volumes available for on-demand download from all of us at the Unnext Network, because we know how important that series was. John Burroughs put that entire thing together, masterfully put it together, because John Burroughs wants to know what happened to him and all of those men around him in December of 1980 in Suffolk, England. And he is, in my humble opinion, the most credible source of information, the most reliable witness that has come forward to date. And I just am thankful to him, that he included me, and that we got to do this project back then. And so, from George Knapp to Winston Keach to Richard Doty coming back and going on the record, we covered the gamut with that program. We brought Adrian Bustinza for his first ever live interview. Literally the sergeant that was on patrol that first night, that had to check everybody's weapons at East Gate before they went off the base, because it was illegal for our servicemen to be armed off the base. He was there. He was interviewed by the OSI. His first interview, he was brought forward. Multiple witnesses brought forward for the first time on that show. Kevin Day, from the radar operator from the USS Princeton, his first live interview on radio was on Phenomenon Radio. The very first time. Everyone has heard about Kevin Day now because of the Nimitz and everything. But up to that point, Fravor had come forward reluctantly. I mean, he was outed, and he pretty much came forward and had to tell his account, or did tell his account. And Kevin Day didn't want him left hanging out there in the wind. He came out, came forward, came out of out of his place in the mountains, and came forward and backed up David Fravor. That series is something that is going to be one of Well, I'm going to just say it. It has made me so proud to be a part of it. That it's one of the biggest feathers in my cap. One of the finest projects I've ever had the pleasure to work on, and working with Linda and with John was a true honor. And so those 4 seasons that you're allowed to go download on demand in MP3 and put in your archives for your research are now available to all of you for free. So go over there and grab those. And then, of course, all of our other shows are over there. Everything just about that we broadcast, everything we broadcast from this studio or Margie's studio is there. Anything we syndicate will be at their outbound landing pages. And they always tell you, all of our syndicators do a real good job at telling you right where to find all of their stuff. So everything you listen to live here and you listen to syndicated here, it's all readily available for you to run and go grab. But over there also, before I get out of here on this, go over there and, on the very main page, the very front page, there it says join the X, and you can choose your free or paid subscription plan right there on the front page. Ladies and gentlemen, the free membership, that list is massive. Thank all of you for going over there and signing up for those free memberships, because that gets you posts on the latest blogs when they drop and all that. But not only that, you get a free digital copy. You get a free e-copy of the UNX magazine every month. When we started this, Margie has done that magazine for something like, 12, 15 years. And when we started the UNX network, she was doing the magazine quarterly, just 4 of those a year. The success of this station and the uptick in traffic and interest over here at UNX Media, she said, Race, I have got to hire a managing editor, and we have got to ramp this up to a monthly. And I said, well, one of my good friends just retired a few years back, one of the best writers I know, Lee Spiegel. She said, can you get me a meeting with him? And I gave her the number, and they got together, and she hired him. And man, they've put together an amazing revised edition of this magazine, and Margie's been running with it. The late Lee Spiegel. Brother, I love you, and I miss you dearly. I miss you so much. Whom we lost this past year. But Margie continues to produce this amazing magazine every month. And it's just full of content that we cover here. You get that e-copy free. You can get a physical copy, because I do. My coffee table's got them on it. And everybody that comes to my house and knows me and Robin, my wife and I, everybody knows that we're in this stuff. And so I wind up giving them away. After, say, the October edition, it's already gone. Someone's already asked if they could have it. And the November edition will be gone, because December's just going to drop here real soon. And as soon as it does, I'll have it on that coffee table, because, man, the conversations that we start around that, in that living room, around that magazine, I can't tell you. I just can't tell. And then Robin, she loves the crossword puzzles too. Margie does amazing crossword puzzles in there. So there's something in there for everybody. But by all means, if you choose a paid subscription plan, folks, I'm telling you, it's worth it, because Margie and I have been having, meetings here lately about all of the new content that we're going to provide and put in the new membership for 2024. There's a lot of new stuff coming, and you're going to love it. It's like $15 a month, for an X Club Gold membership, and go over there and take a look at it. And if you just so decided to do so, I want to thank you in advance, because your support helps us. This is a grassroots effort. We have no corporate sponsorship here. There's not evil corporate radio. This is the new mainstream. This is the UNX network, and it's people like you that help keep us going And I truly appreciate it. unxnetwork.com. That's unxnetwork.com. You can go over there and get everything you need to know about this network, the shows that we put on the radio, the ones we put on video, everything from astrology to cryptozoology to UFOs and UAPs and government, ancient hidden history, ancient technologies. It's all here. And I just like to call it the mysteries of the world, because I don't want to, I'm going to put that brush so broad, that the brush so broad that we can't leave anything out. I mean, you know, we have the best content you could ever absorb on a late, dark night on an interstate, on a long trip somewhere. You just can't spend time better than that. The stories, the information, the content. We have brought such a wonderful collage of the paranormal. There's a huge amount of people that do what I do in this industry, and they're like, well, you can't just talk paranormal on one radio. There's just not enough out there to fill up a radio station. Well, there is at night. There is in the morning. There is in the afternoon, because I see the thousands of people listening to us. I see those numbers. I see those hits. I see that traffic. I see that cumulative listenership every day. You're out there and you're consuming this information. And how we do it, when we do it, and where we do it that's just spices in the recipe. It's people like you that are the real meat on the bone. You're the ones who take what we present and you go out there and you sluice this out and you research this out. You use your own experiences and your own truth and your own knowledge, your own talents and your own skill sets to go finish the job. And you do it. You do it. These conferences we go to, these symposiums, these expos, I meet people like you every day when we're there. And I wouldn't trade these experiences for love or money. This is the new mainstream. Right here at home on the X, we're a family. For all of you out there who have nobody else to talk to about this, who have nobody else to sit around the campfire and chop this up, to trade information and share information and expand your knowledge base and your skill sets on how to investigate, how to grow closer to the truth. I challenge each and every one of you to spread the word. Let people know we're here. We're working hard for you. And we listen to you and you listen to us, and the collaboration that comes from that is golden. So I just want to thank all of you for watching. I want to thank all of you for listening. And yes, my good friend Danielle, we do cover near-death experiences. There's an abundance. Go over to Unex Media. There's books over there on it for sale. And we do need to talk soon, Sugar. So I'm telling you that I agree with you 100%. I miss you. You're one of my favorite people that I've lost contact with way back. And thank you for coming over and hanging out with us, Danielle. I appreciate it. And all of you, thank you all so much. I'm going to wrap the show because we've got 1 hour and 8 minutes in this show. That's more than enough that I need to take this show file and fix it, because I am so sorry that I forgot to hit start stream in the beginning, and we missed the first 20 minutes of 15 minutes of L.A. Marzulli. We'll have him back. I promise you. Go over to lamarzulli.net. That's lamarzulli.net. You can catch LA right here on the Unex Network. Look, his show, Questions with LA, is just one show that he does, but you can catch it Saturday night at 2 a.m. It's a late night show, and LA takes questions from all the people that write into him, and we rebroadcast it here, as well as some content from Hunt for the Nephilim. that series, I actually worked with him on several projects over there, and it was a true honor, a true pleasure. And I think that L.A. Marzulli is he's one of the most important figures in what we do, because I'm a man of faith. I believe in the higher power. I follow Jesus Christ and his teachings. I'm a sinner. But I aspire to do better every day and live under his teachings. And the devil's constantly working on us, and he's working on all of us, because you can see it in the news every day. Leave that news behind, leave that negativity behind, and come over here where it's positive. Come over here where everything is moving forward. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. And for Margie K, I am Race Hobbs. This has been a broadcast of UNX News right here on the UNX Network, a product of UNX Media. We'll see you next time. Have a great weekend. God bless you all. Stay safe. Thank you for watching.